What would happen to Earth if every single one of us vanished today? Not slowly, but all at once. What would it actually take for the planet to erase every last trace of us? Our cities, our monuments, all the plastic choking our oceans? The answer is a cleanup project on a scale that's almost impossible to imagine. A slow, sometimes violent, and often beautiful process of reclamation that could take as long as 10 million years. This is the story of how the Earth would heal itself, the first 24 hours. The Great Silence. The very first change isn't something you'd see, but something you'd hear. Or rather, what you wouldn't hear. The first time in centuries, the world goes quiet. The constant hum of traffic, the drone of air conditioners, the roar of industry, it all just stops. The planet's electrical heartbeat stops with it. Within hours, power grids everywhere start to fail, plunging cities that were once visible from space into a deep, unfamiliar darkness. After about 36 hours, a new problem starts underground. The pumps that keep subways and tunnels from flooding finally quit. Water, always patient, begins its slow-motion flood, turning our underground highways into murky rivers. But above ground, the sky starts to clear. Without the daily dose of pollutants, the air in major cities improves dramatically. It might take days or even weeks for the smog to fully dissipate. But eventually, the Milky Way could be visible from the heart of what was once Los Angeles or London. The cleanup has already begun. The first year, the green invasion. In the first year, nature's demolition team arrives. Not with a bang, but with a seed. Without gardeners and herbicides. An aggressive green tide washes over our manicured world. Crabgrass and dandelions, the stubborn enemies of every suburban lawn, become the pioneers of a new wilderness. Their roots probing every crack in our asphalt, breaking apart roads and sidewalks. Water, no longer held back by maintained roofs and sealed windows, becomes the ultimate home invader. It seeps into buildings, feeding mold that stains the walls in strange patterns of decay. It pools on flat roofs, adding so much weight that they groan and collapse, opening homes to the sky. Our pets face a harsh new reality. The highly specialized breeds we created would be among the first to perish. But hardier strays and feral animals are suddenly unleashed. Packs of dogs would roam empty streets, while cats would become formidable predators in this new urban ecosystem. The real winners, though, the insects. With pesticides gone, their populations explode, creating a feast for birds and other small animals, and re-energizing the very base of the food web. 100 years later, the crumbling icons. A century after we're gone, the world is still recognizable, but it's a ruin. The symbols of our civilization have become monuments to decay. Decay, in Paris, the Eiffel Tower, no longer protected by paint, is being eaten away by rust. Its iron frame, once a symbol of strength, is now brittle. In New York, the great suspension cables of bridges like the Brooklyn Bridge have snapped, their steel corroded by a century of damp sea air. The roadway long since fallen into the river below. Most wooden structures are gone, eaten by termites or rotted back into the soil. Steel-reinforced concrete buildings still stand, but they are wounded giants. Water has found its way into microscopic cracks, reaching the steel rebar inside. As the rebar rusts, it expands, shattering the concrete from within. The glass windows of skyscrapers have been broken by storms and wild temperature swings, leaving behind hollow frames that whistle in the wind. Our cities are turning into vertical forests, with trees taking root on collapsed floors and vines swallowing entire buildings. 1,000 years later, forests of Metropolis. 1,000 years after humanity, our cities are almost unrecognizable. They've become strange, geometric forests. The rubble of fallen skyscrapers forms new hills, now covered in soil and colonized by mature trees. Streets have become rivers, carving new paths through the landscape. Even our most colossal structures begin to fail. The massive concrete dams we built, like the Hoover Dam, after centuries of pressure and silt buildup, could eventually collapse. A failure like that would release a flood of biblical proportions, scouring canyons and restoring ancient riverbeds in a single catastrophic event. Most traces of our civilization have been buried or have decomposed, but some of our creations are incredibly stubborn. Our landfills, packed with plastics and metals, are toxic time capsules. Under the right conditions, some of our most durable materials remain. A stainless steel pot unearthed might still gleam, and our billions of tons of plastic waste have barely begun to break down. This plastic, now fragmented into countless microparticles, has worked its way into every ecosystem on the planet, creating a permanent, unwanted geological marker of our time. 100,000 years later, the new megafauna. 100,000 years from now, the Earth has erased almost every physical scar. Successive ice ages have acted like giant bulldozers, scraping the land clean of our ruins and burying the remains under tons of rock and ice. But the biggest change isn't what's gone, it's what's come back. The planet is once again a world of giants. The last great extinction of megafauna, which wiped out woolly mammoths and saber-toothed cats, was an event driven largely by our ancestors. In our absence, evolution has started to fill those empty roles. Without human hunters, animals like elephants, bears, and great cats have spread across the continents. It's plausible that feral cattle and pigs, generations removed from domestication, have evolved into new, wilder forms. In the Americas, wild horses and camels, descendants of animals, we reintroduce trome in vast herds across former farmland. It's a world teeming with large animals, a level of biodiversity not seen since the Pleistocene. The great beasts are back. 1 million years later, the final scars. After 1 million years, what's left of us? Almost nothing. Any structures, no matter how monumental, have been ground to dust. Even the Great Pyramids are gone, their stones weathered and scattered. The only durable traces of our time here are our most toxic and artificial creations. Glass bottles and shards, for example, are incredibly durable and could take up to 1 million years to fully break down. Finding a piece in the dirt 1 million years from now would be an almost unbelievable discovery. Faint pockets of radiation from failed nuclear plants might still be detectable. But our longest-lasting legacy will likely be plastic. After 1 million years, it hasn't disappeared. It has become part of the rock itself. Scientists have already found a new type of stone being formed today, a plastiglomerate, where plastic, rock, and other debris are fused together. It's still being debated how well this layer would survive, but future geologists, if any ever exist, might find this strange, unnatural signature in the rock strata, telling the silent story of a species that created materials the planet couldn't digest. 10 million years later, a new genesis. 10 million years. That's the timescale scientists estimate it takes for biodiversity to fully recover from a mass extinction. After the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs, it took about that long for the web of life to be rewoven. The extinction event we started would be no different. By now, Earth's biodiversity has likely rebounded to, or even surpassed, the levels that existed before us. But the life here would be alien to us. Evolution, working on a canvas wiped clean of our influence, has produced creatures and ecosystems we could never imagine. The continents themselves have shifted. There might even be new intelligent species, but they wouldn't be our descendants. They'd be something entirely new, born of a world that has forgotten us. The very last trace of humanity, of our art, our wars, our love, and our folly would be a thin, strange layer in the geological record, faint chemical signature showing a spike in carbon, plastics, and radioactive isotopes. A silent testament to the Anthropocene. The age of man, a fleeting explosive, and in the end, temporary chapter in the 4.5 billion year history of Earth. The cleanup is finally complete. Conclusion. Thinking about this is a powerful reminder of nature's resilience and our own profound yet temporary impact. It's a truly humbling perspective on our place in the universe. What this thought experiment shows more than anything is that the planet doesn't really need us. We are guests here, temporary caretakers of a world that operates on a scale far beyond our own understanding. The Earth was here long before us, and it will be here long after we're gone. Slow, patient, and powerful systems will eventually erase even our greatest achievements, recycling them back into the endless cycle of creation and destruction. The world without us isn't an ending, simply a new beginning.